We're going to start out this series of lessons using the C form C major scale. And we're going to also learn the numeric system with that along the way. Okay, it starts on the 15th fret of the 5th string, and we're going to send up the pattern like this using the number system. Root, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7, and then root again. 2nd, 3rd, 4, 5, and then we're out of notes. We're going to go back down to 4, 3, 2, root, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, root, and then continue down the pattern until you've expired all the notes. That's the major 7 and major 6. The 5th, 4th, 3rd, back to the 4th, 5th, major 6, major 7, the root note, and we'll do that a couple times and then end on the C form C major bar chord to kind of give it a nice little wrap up. Try to call out the numeric name of the notes as you're playing them. Get familiar with where the 2 is relative to the root, where the 3 is, where the 4 is. Just observations like that will help make learning your fretboard a lot easier, because that's how we learn to play music on the guitars, with patterns and shapes. That really goes far with learning the guitar fretboard. So let's try that again a little bit together, a little quicker tempo. And I'm going to play it twice for you, up and down, and on the C major C form bar chord. Okay, so here we go. Root, 2nd, 3rd, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and then back down. 4, 3, 2, the root. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, root. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then repeat. And then the chord. Now what I'd like to do is listen to those 7 notes of the major scale over a 1-chord C major chord backing track that's going to go on, and we're going to listen to each note and how it relates, how it sounds over that chord. The notes are either going to sound really good, or they're going to sound good but not great, or they're not going to sound good at all. I like to call the good notes the real sturdy ones, and then the weak ones the unsturdy ones, or the shaky ones. And let's go ahead and listen to them over the tracks. I'm going to play one note, and we're just going to observe what that one note sounds like. And I'm going to run through all 7 notes of the major scale so we can kind of make some audible observations. Okay, let's go ahead and check that out. Listen how that root note sounds over the major chord, the root C major chord. It sounds very secure, very stable. You could build a house on that note. Okay, now let's move on to the 2nd. To my ear, it's not as solid as the root note, but it doesn't sound too bad. But it's also not in the chord too, so it's not a great note, but it's definitely a nice color. It doesn't sound bad. That's the 2nd for you, the major 2nd. Now let's try the major 3rd. Ah, that sounds really good. That's a money note right there, man. That major third, because it's in the chord. Sounds great because it's in the chord. Okay, the perfect fourth. To my ear, that sounds a little dissonant, and it almost has a tug to want to be resolved back down to the major third. You hear that? That perfect fourth always has an unresolved sound to it. So that, in my books, I call that a shaky note, unsturdy. Okay, the next one's the fifth. It's in the chord, so it sounds very stable, very secure. Major six. Hear how that sounds? It's not in the chord, but it doesn't sound too bad. It's a nice color. It's a nice color on top of that. Very open sound. Okay, the major seven. It's not in the chord. Also sounds kind of unstable too. To my ear, it sounds dissonant, very shaky, and it almost has a pull to want to be resolved to the root. So the good notes, the best notes, the gravy notes are the chord tones. Those are the most powerful resolving notes. The root, the third, and the fifth. So again, let's listen. The root sounds good. Sounds great, actually. The second sounds a little less secure. The third sounds great. The fourth sounds a little unresolved. The fifth sounds great because it's in the chord. The major six sounds not bad, very open. The major seven sounds unstable, and you want to get off of that. You don't want to end on a major seven, unless you're playing a major seven chord, but we're not here. And then the root sounds very stable again. So that's the gist of how the notes sound over the backing track. Now go ahead and do some experimenting and try those on your own over the backing track and make your own observations.